Welcome back. So we're moving on to the next activity now. So you'll need a whole new page or part of your piece of paper to write on. What we're going to do now is to look back over our writing from the previous part and see if there's a word that comes to mind when we think about what we've been writing about. So for example, I'm going to write about the word honoured, because when I was having the conversations with members of the TYAC professional education group, the word honoured kept coming up again and again, and it's one that resonates with me because I feel super honoured to be able to work with people like you who work with people and make a big difference to their lives on a daily basis. So look back over your notes or just close your eyes and have a think and see what words emerge, and choose one and then write it down at the top of your page. Amazing. So now that you have your word, I'd like to invite you to imagine that that word has a character, a personality, and is a living, breathing entity in the world, all right? So you're going to make up that person, and you're going to do it with me, one question at a time. So I'll ask you a question, and then I'll leave you to answer it in whatever words, whatever way feels right to you. Question one is, where would you often find your word? Okay, so for example, I've said that the word honoured would often be found in the moment before a smile or after tears. Or you could choose something a bit more specific, like a place or a time. So for example, the word honoured might often be found in the car on the way to work. Question two is, what would your word wear? That could be a kind of texture, or it could be the colour of what it wears, or it could be a seasonal kind of clothing. So for example, for me, the word honoured wears invisible golden robes over its everyday clothes. Question three, what does the air around it feel like? So this is like its atmosphere. So for example, the word honoured for me feels delicately bright. The air around it is delicately bright, like the first warm spring day or the last autumn one mixed together. Over to you. Question four is, what does its voice or footsteps sound like? Or you could choose a completely different sound associated with it if you like. So for example, the word honoured for me is gentle, but it takes you by surprise. And its footsteps sound like the echo of other people's shoes. Over to you. Question five. What does your word eat or drink? So for example, the word honoured would offer you endless cups of tea and an unlimited tin of biscuits. Coming to the last three questions now. So the next question, question six, is, what else do you know about the word? So this is a chance to be super creative about bringing its character to life. So for example, for the word honoured, I've said that it likes to spend time in unexpected places. And that sometimes the word honoured finds it difficult to express itself. So over to you, have a go, no right or wrong. What else do you know about your word? Question seven. How would your word spend time enjoying itself? So I'm thinking about holidays, lunch breaks, coffee breaks, weekends, after work. So, for example, the word honoured, I think it would go to a muddy wood on weekends where it can splash and stomp freely, or it would just collapse on a sofa at the end of a long day. Okay, so over to you. How would your word enjoy itself? And question 8, and this is the final one. What other word would your word spend time with, or what other word would it be its friend? Okay, so for example, I think the word honoured would spend a lot of time with the word challenges, and I think its friend would be the word or. So I've put its friend is or. And if you'd like to choose a different role, you could do. So for example, you might say, you know, what other word would be its teacher, or what other word would be its nemesis, or what other word would be its colleague. So over to you, have a go. What other word would your word spend time with or be friends with? Have a go. Brilliant. So now you've answered all those questions, you have all the paint, all the clay you need to create your very own poem. So how to do this is just to read your answers back, get rid of the questions, and then just turn them into sort of more like statements. You might feel compelled to add words here and there, to take away words, to change a few words, to remove some lines completely, move them around. And yeah, here's an idea of the kind of thing it might turn out to be. Obviously yours would turn out completely unique to you and in your own words, and that's incredibly important. But here's an idea. So just to remind you, my word was honoured, and yeah, here is my poem. Honoured lives in the moments before a smile or after tears, in the car on the way to work, wears invisible golden robes over its everyday clothes. The air around it feels delicately bright. The first warm spring day and the last autumn one combined. Its voice is gentle, but takes you by surprise. Brews endless cups of tea and offers you an unlimited tin of biscuits. Thrives in the most unexpected moments. Sometimes finds it difficult to express itself. Then goes to a muddy wood to splash and stomp. Spends a lot of time with challenges. Its friend is awe. Have a little go and come back when you're ready. So a quick shout out to Simon Mole, who has lots of similar videos on his YouTube channel. So if you've enjoyed this video, then you'll definitely enjoy his channel. And he also has a wordy activity like the one that we've just done, with some different questions. So if you'd like to add to your word character list, then that would be a good place to go to. Now we're going to move on to the final activity in our guided writing session. It has been such an honour to spend time with you today. Even though we're not actually physically together in the same space, I can feel your presence in the future. So thank you so much for playing around with these activities today and going on this journey. The final activity is to go treasure hunting through your own writing. So look back over all your notes and writing from our time together, drawing out some treasures. So these might be words, phrases and lines that resonate with you in some way or sound good or anything really. Any reason that you want to save it is completely valid. As you go or afterwards, whatever feels right, write out your words, lines and phrases on a fresh sheet of paper in an order that makes sense to you. You can always play around with it afterwards. And yeah, just to give you an example of what this might sound like afterwards, I'm going to read you a poem that I've written, incorporating some of the lines and thoughts and ideas and emotions and phrases and words that I've put down during our session, and you'll recognise some of them. And I've tweaked a few things here and there, reordered it, and yeah, this is the result. So I've called it Falling Into Place because that was one of the lines that I wrote earlier in the session, you might remember. And it seems to sort of encapsulate some of the themes in the piece as a whole. Falling into place. Kindness is honey, sweet and wholesome, with healing qualities. Today I held your hand, refreshing as morning. There are many hands I want to hold. Honoured is found in the moment before a smile or after tears. Thrives in the most unexpected places. Sometimes it struggles to express itself. Then it goes to a muddy wood to splash and stomp with awe. There you go, that's my attempt. Now it's over to you. Just have a go, just experiment really, put stuff together, mix and match, see what works, and come back when you're done. So all great journeys have to come to an end eventually, but the good news is that you can always come back to these prompts and have a go with other words, other ideas, other starting points. So that's the good news. Also, if you'd like to share any of the writing that you do with me, that would be great. My email address will go on the screen after this session has ended. And before we say goodbye, I'd like us to do a checkout as well, just like we checked in at the beginning. So look back at your check-in. So that was the kind of clothing that you would be if you were a kind of clothing. And think about if anything has changed over the course of this session. Do you feel any different? So for example, if you said you were a bright yellow bobble hat to start with, are you a different colour of bobble hat? Are you a different texture? Are you a different kind of clothing completely? Has the weather changed? That kind of thing. So I leave you to do that and come back when you're ready. Okay, so think about if anything has changed, whether there's anything that has felt particularly good to stretch during this session, anything that feels a little bit tender now. Do you need to be a bit kind to yourself going forwards from this session? Have a little think about that and perhaps make a promise to yourself about something that you're going to take forward from the session, and also anything that you'd like to leave behind. Which is also really important. So take some time to do that. So thank you so much for doing that. You are absolutely brilliant for joining me through this session and sticking through all the way till the end. Have a really lovely rest of your day and take care of yourself.